in Tripoli will be part of a creation of a northeast region following the outcome of the referendum.
If they succeed in the referendum to be conducted, and that is it, then the northeast region will be created, including Tripoli.
Also,
if you are coming to be a foreign minister, the Foreign Affairs Committee will vet you. Specialized people who have made foreign affairs their career in this house.
to extreme leadership of Parliament and certain Speaker's proposal to restrict vetting of ministerial nominees by specific committees in the House is the way to go.
If you are to send to each committee, what it means that if the president decides to reshuffle, now the person will have to come back.
We'll hear from the Minority Chief Whip and speak to a parliamentary expert for some analysis on this.
And in business, Chair of Public Interest and Accountability Committee, Dr. Steve Mantia wants the 2019 budget to come up with serious expenditure cuts measures.
We also have sports, and later on flip side.
If you're planning of dying anytime soon, hear this.
Those who intend to die during that period should wait. When mortuary workers are back to work, they die.
We have more on this strike by mortuary workers later on flip side.
You may want to join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp on 0244 340 437. I am Memefa Apau.
And I am Komla Adum. Thank you for joining us.
Success of our show. Trusted, innovative financial services, providing affiliation, support and solutions. Customer-oriented, superior services. Your success of our show. 10 good years of loyalty, service with integrity, protective of our Ghanaian brand. 10 years of excellence, 10 years of loyalty. Your success our passion, oh yeah. Your success our passion.
Your success our passion.
Hello, I say, I want to know why Vodafone normal 10 megabyte free data. It will call Smoke Ruby Adrian. Share.
Hello, have you heard that Vodafone is giving 10 megabyte free data for every minute you talk? You just dial 50-50.
Yeah, hello. Aha! Right now, with the Vodafone people, just they can call plenty. Second of us, you talk 1 minute, you go get 10 megabytes. You talk 2 minutes, you go get 20 megabytes. 3 minutes.
Call Vodafone or any network and get 10 megabytes of free data every minute you talk. It's simple. Talk to browse. The more you talk, the more data you get. Dial 50-50 to subscribe. Talk more, browse more. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Let me explain in here. I'm a mistake where I use cement for all your projects. That's why Gassem, with 50 years experience, wants to develop various greater. What's your various jobs? What was super rapid 32.5 hours? Oh no, you're suitable for your dream house. As your screening now, or the Nazi or plastering now. Oh man, a perfect finish. Gassem, what was super strong 42.5 hours? Or your best suited for slab, pavement blocks, Nasezicha blocks, Nankasa, Archie pumping. More. For the biggest construction works like roads, bridges, on your high-rise buildings, contractor and use Gassem Extra 42.5 N. Missing it be there. Choose Gassem always.
Gassem, the nation builder.
Nationwide Medical Insurance, the leader in private health insurance, has deployed superior technology to make your healthcare experience more convenient and exciting. With the Nationwide mobile app, you can order your prescription drugs and we will deliver to your doorsteps. With over 600 dependable healthcare service providers, you're just a step away locating your service provider of choice and accessing hospital claim information in real time. Our corporate clients are guaranteed timely corporate utilization reports. We provide on-site clinics to give employees access to healthcare in the comfort of their offices. Enjoy these amazing benefits and so much more by signing on to Nationwide Medical Insurance today. Call us on toll-free number 0800 222222 or visit our website www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome to News Night. You can join us with your comments on the stories you will be hearing on 0244 340 437. 0244 340 437. Now, first story. After about 3 weeks of closure following violent protests, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology will reopen Friday, barring any last-minute hitches. The students were protesting the abuse meted out to them by campus security and the conversion of single-sex halls into mixed ones, among others. This led to the dissolution of a university's governing council, much to the disapproval of members of a University Teachers Association, UTAG. You will recall that an interim council established by government to see to the resolution of issues at the university was rejected by lecturers who felt disrespected over their non-inclusion on the new council.
But despite government's rejection of the inclusion of the old members on the new council, the Asante Henu Otumfuose II, who is also the Chancellor of the university, swore in only new members proposed by government as well as CHAS. He's however unhappy with circumstances that led to the disturbance.
I have served as your Chancellor for going on 1 decade. I have devoted more time, effort, and resources to the university than any single entity since our ascension to the Golden Stool.
Sure.
We have maintained incredibly close relations with all levels of personnel, with the leadership and general body of students, with alumni, as much as I have done with management and academic staff. I am aware that all stakeholders are fully conversant with the channels established by statute for the resolution of issues. All of you are aware that when all efforts fail, there is always recourse to the good offices of the Chancellor.
Sure.
Indeed, when I received the petition on the mixed gender policy, I went over the minutes of the University Council and confirmed for myself that this was a matter on which the Council had taken a decision at one of its meetings early in the year, with the full participation of representatives of the Alumni Students Representative Council, National Council for Tertiary Education, Convocation, and all the institutional representations.
Sure.
It raises serious questions about how a decision taken by all these representatives could still ignite such fury from a section of the alumni and a section of the students with the calamitous consequences we now face.
Sure.
The fact that this has happened and led to the worst incident in the life of the university under my chancellorship is a pain I do not bear lightly.
Sure.
So I'm determined that the return to normalcy should not mean premature closure, but the commencement of a cleaning process for the sake of the future.
Sure.
We should neither paper over any cracks nor sweep any dirt under the carpet. Accordingly, a full and transparent inquiry must be set up into all the circumstances leading to the day of horrors. As Chancellor of this university, and in line with the understanding by which government mandated me to manage this process, I should, with appropriate consultation, appoint a 5-man committee to be headed by a judge to propose the remote and immediate causes of the disturbances.
The Asante also called for a cordial relationship between management and students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
The university cannot turn away from established good practice nor compromise on the integrity of its management.
Sure.
Nothing should be done to hamstring the council from discharging their duty to develop the policies for the running of the university in accordance with the statutes.
Sure.
Nor encourage students to feel they have the right to defy authority or cherry-pick rules they choose to obey.
Sure.
Yes, the university is nothing if not a hotbed of free expression, and the penchant for rigorous debate must be one of the intrinsic values we inculcate in our students. But defiance and disorder cannot and can never be part of those values, and it should be abundantly clear that neither students nor alumni nor any group within the university shall be allowed to dictate or conduct itself in a manner that undermines the integrity of management.
Sure.
Academic freedom is one of the pillars upon which the true democracy thrives. It is as critical as the freedom of the press and the rule of law. And just as we want our course to function with integrity, so we should protect the integrity of the system of higher education within our democratic environment.
Sure.
While we await the
You heard that the Chancellor of the KNUST, Asante Henu Otumfuose II. That's not all. The Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, was also been speaking that he wants management of the school to review its dealings with students.
Specifically,
You're expected to use your leadership skills to work closely with the university management on reopening the university as soon as possible. This is important to ensure that academic work is restored to normalcy and also to preserve the image of the university as a credible institution of higher learning. Beyond this, it is the view of government that relationship between the university authorities and the student body has broken down. The students need to have confidence that their views are respected and taken on board in decisions affecting them. On the other hand, the MSRC must own up to and be prepared for the consequences of their actions because of the level of distraction. Individually, all found culpable must face the results of the law. In that channel, management must also do an introspection of how they got it so wrong, leading to this carnage, and be prepared to own up to their responsibilities. I entreat you to support the Chancellor in his efforts to get to the bottom of issues in order for us to provide the appropriate remedies. On this part, government has learned lessons from this episode and wishes to assure the university community that its interest is to ensure law, order, and security to enhance teaching and learning in this community. It is the expectation of government that you, as governing council, will take a strong lead and direct an examination of this relationship.
You heard the Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. We'll get to hear from the URO, of course, Tewu and UTAG, whether they are satisfied with what has happened so far. But let's speak to Professor Japong. He's the Chancellor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, and he speaks for Vice Chancellors Ghana. Thank you very much for your time here on Newsnight, Professor Japong. So is this what you were expecting? Are you satisfied with what you've seen so far?
Thanks, MFR, and thanks for getting back to me on this issue. First of all, I'm not the Chancellor of the university, I'm the Vice Chancellor.
I beg your pardon, Prof.
Yes. So, yes, I think this is what we were all expecting, the escalation of all the issues to a point where now we can resume academic life on K University campus. So, Vice Chancellor Ghana is happy with the fact that there is a new governing council in place that is going to see to it that the university is reopened. My information is that the students will be reporting over the weekend for academic work to begin from Monday. So I think that is good.
But there's a substantive issue. You know, there were concerns that were raised by the students, especially on, you know, the single-sex halls being changed into a mixed hall, for instance. Also, the kind of treatment that were meted out to them by the security or the security personnel of the school, amongst others, were some of the issues that were raised. So going forward, what should be the relationship between management of the school and the students?
Oh, I think student leadership and the student body in general always have to work together with management to ensure that the life on campus is normal. I do not want to preempt any of the issues that you raised because from the information that I got, the Chancellor of KNUST has decided to put together a 5-member fact-finding committee that is going to look into all these grievances and report back to him. So I do not want to get into that. But having said that, the university without students is no university. So students are a very key, important stakeholders in this whole initiative. We don't have any business if there are no students. So we need to find ways of working very closely with our students. As I said earlier, probably university management needs some innovative ways of engaging students to ensure that there is constant communication to the benefit of all. Of course, students would also need to know that, yes, they should by all means air their grievances, and they should learn to use the right channels to air their grievances, And as I had indicated earlier, the university systems have all the processes to ensure that grievances are heard to the highest level. So let's all learn to respect the laws of the land. Let's all learn to respect the laws of the university. And then we would have good academic environment to foster good research and learning and teaching, which we need in this country for our development.
But we have a new council in place, even though it's largely made up of the old members. We have only 4 members of government and also 2 from CHAS that have been added to the council. Are we courting any fears as vice-chancellors that this new council may initiate a move to remove Professor Obridanso?
Oh, I do not want to second-guess anybody. And I think that everybody has come to the table with good intentions. So I do not think that government would want to undermine the running of the university in any way. I know we've spoken and engaged with government, and I think that they all mean good. So I do not entertain any such fears whatsoever. So yes, 6 new members were sworn in. The old members were members of the old council were not sworn in. There are 6 new members. The 4 new members from government, the representative of NCT, and I think the representative of CHAS that were sworn in, because these are the new people. And that is normal procedure. When there are new members of a council, the new members are sworn in. So I think we are in good business, and we are going back to work.
Okay.
And, I don't anticipate any problem whatsoever.
We're grateful for your time, Professor Japong. He's Vice-Chancellor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, and he speaks for Vice-Chancellors Ghana.
MFR, the university authorities themselves are happy the impasse is finally over. Here is the University Relations Officer, Kwame Boajinia.
I'm sure you witnessed what happened. Good sense has prevailed, and we are very happy that it has come this way. We thank the government of Ghana for listening to all the stakeholders, and also thank the Chancellor also for taking the steps to ensure that we have what we had this afternoon. In all, I'll say we are very happy as an institution. Academic work is going to begin. The students are supposed to return on Friday for academic work to begin on Monday. So in all, I think it's a very good event. It's welcome.
So you had there the University Relations Officer of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kwame Boajinia, MFR.
Now, we would also be able to hear from the Tertiary and Education Workers Union, TEU. You know that they also they went on a strike and embarked on an industrial action, but we are told that they have also called it off. We can hear from Charles Arthur.
To tell them that everything has come to an end. As a result of that, they should start work.
Would you say your expectations have been achieved?
Yes, our expectations have been achieved, but one thing that we want to indicate that this was not a fight, this was not a dispute, this was an issue that was being resolved, and there has been a remedy to resolve it. So there is no a win-win or win and lose. It's a win-win and it's a lose-lose. If it's a win, it's a win for everybody. If it is lose, it's a lose for everybody, because it's a state property that all of us were trying to protect, which by the grace of Almighty God, with the assistance of the President, everybody in Ghana here, we have all protected that situation. So we thank Almighty God. We think that should be the way.
Thank you.
Charles Arthur is the chairman of the Tertiary Education Workers Union, TEU. We can do some more stories now. MFI government has refused to bow to pressure from chiefs and youth of the Gbong in the northern region, demanding the exclusion of Tripoli from the proposed northeast region. The angry youth, clad in red, today thronged the streets of Tamale to protest the inclusion of Tripoli, chanting and holding placards with inscriptions such as "Tripoli is Dagbong" and "Dagbong is united against dismembering Tripoli." But the minister responsible for regional reorganization and MP for Kre, Dan Botre, explains the altering of the regional administrative boundaries and districts is not the preserve of the chiefs. We'll hear from the minister shortly, but first listen to spokesperson for the irate youth, Mubarak Osman.
Some few weeks ago, the Dagbon Traditional Council met in Yindi and they openly declared their opposition to the request by the Naire that Tripoli should be released to him so that they will include it into their proposed northeast region. This request was submitted to the Dagon Traditional Council. It was openly rejected. But as you can see, plans are far advanced to forcefully include Chirpone into the proposal of it. That is why the youth of Dagon have come out in their numbers to inform the whole world that as an ethnic group, we are strongly against the inclusion, but we are not against the creation of Northeast region. And I am very sure that if this thing will continue, it's going to raise so much tension, and that is what we are trying to avoid.
You had the spokesperson for the Irish youth of Dagbon, Mubarak Osman.
Of course, we'll get to hear from the minister responsible for regional reorganization, Dan Kwekuboche. Already he's been saying that the altering of regional administrative boundaries and districts is not the preserves of the chiefs. We'll get to speak to him shortly on that. As and when we're able to raise him, we'll get to deal with this issue.
So we move from one ministry to another, MFI. And the Minister for Special Development Initiative, Madam Mavis Hawakumson, has debunked assertions that government has not fulfilled its promise of allocating every constituency with $1 million for development. According to the minister, a lot of projects earmarked to be constructed with the funds are ongoing in various districts, with some even nearing completion. She made these remarks when she took her turn at the Meet the Press series today. A4 Evans Chimney reports.
Under the Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program, each of the 275 constituencies has been allocated the city equivalent of $1 million this year to be invested in infrastructure development. Madam Hawakumson said the ministry has spent 927 million Ghana cedis out of the 1 billion cedis allocated to the ministry. She further stated the money is being used for the 1,000 metric tons prefabricated warehouses under the One District, One Warehouse policy, 10-seater water closet institutional toilet with mechanized boreholes to address sanitation issues, and a community-based solar-powered water systems and an ambulance per constituency. The ambulances she was hopeful would be purchased between May and June next year for every constituency, as the ministry had started with the procurement process.
It was our intention to even have the ambulance by close of year. But looking at the procurement process, I believe maybe by first week in December, the award will be given. And then somewhere May, June next year, the ambulances will be in this country. And that is the assurance I'm giving you. Our funds are not statutory. So when the budget expires, it expires with the money. I mean, with the 1 million per the constituency. Unlike common fund and other funds, but when there are projects, ongoing projects, the money will be referenced to pay the contractors. But if it is not used in anything, the finance minister cannot release that money.
She believes that by the close of the year, many of the projects would have been completed based on the assurances from the contractors and handed over to the Coastal Development Authority to manage.
So you heard the A4 Evans Chinri's report. Let's go back to our earlier stories, Komla, because we're talking about the youth of Chirpone raising concerns about Chirpone being included in the Northeast region that is yet to be created. They have concerns with that. Today they embarked on a demonstration with placards saying that Chirpone is Dagbon and Dagbon is united against dismembering Chirpone. And we're privileged to be joined on the phone by Dan Kwekuboche. He's the minister responsible for regional reorganization. Thank you very much for your time here on Newsnight, sir. So let's start from the very beginning. When we decided to carve Northeast region, for instance, did we have the inclusion of Chirpone on the cards?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we did. Chirpone is by the recommendation of the Commission of Inquiry. We have 6 districts forming the Northeast region, proposed Northeast region, and that includes Chirpone.
But we've had the youth today, for instance, as well as the chiefs as well. They're raising concerns about it. They say they will protest the inclusion of Chirpone, for instance, in the Northeast region.
Well, yes, it has come to our attention. But the Commission of Inquiry did a very exhaustive work. The Chirpone people appeared in Tamale twice. They were in Narelugu, they were in Bumprugu, and they expressed their support and their desire to join the Northeast region. We've had, in my office, can show you documents that show the letters that came from the chief and the elders of Chirpone to be part of the Northeast region. You know, you always, in some cases, have some other people who have different views, and they will choose to express it the way maybe some of them have expressed it today. But in the case of linking it to where they owe allegiance, we have explained it so much during the sensitization process from last year that the traditional boundaries are not necessarily coterminous with the administrative boundaries. So you cannot say that this is an area that owes allegiance to a particular ethnic group, therefore they cannot be in another region. It is not supported by even the current facts on the ground, because we have many people from different regions who owe allegiance to other chiefs or kings in other regions. And this has been explained so many times. But yes, some people still choose to, as it were, take issue on that. But we do believe that with the explanation we keep on offering, they may come to understand it.
But is it not surprising, or is it not worrying for you as a minister in charge of this sector, that whilst the commission was going round doing its work, did they face the same opposition? Because it looks like they've completed their work and we are now hearing opposition from all angles. We've heard some from the Volta region. We are now hearing from the northern region, amongst others. Is it surprising or is it worrying for you?
Well, it's mainly two. Some part of Volta region and then the Chereponi. I'm sure you also reported that a chief in Chereponi said that he would not, the electoral commission should not come and undertake the exercise of registration. You know what happened? Chereponi later on recorded the highest number of people who registered in the Northeast. 1,158 people registered. So you see, so at the end of the day, is what can you consider what was said earlier by the chief as a true reflection of the views of the broad mass of the people? You know, so you may not as well take what people just come out of there and demonstrate as the true reflection of what is on the.
But could it also not mean that they were not consulted widely, or consultations were not wide enough?
It doesn't follow at all, because it's a question of people who were press conference. So you have 20, 30, 40 people who speak and made a press conference. Then we discuss it, and we think that people were not consulted. The example I just gave you, 1,158 people registered. You know, when it was said that they should not register, because apparently they didn't want to be part of it. 1,150 people came out to register, as against one person said that don't register. And that is why at the end of the day, the Constitution Article 5 says that people should vote. 50% turnout, 80% should say yes. And I'm sure the Constitution never said 100%, because by all means you have some people who will say no. So it does people choose to express their views before the referendum. It does not mean that there wasn't enough consultation. It doesn't mean that at all.
So these protests will not affect the referendum in any way. It would come on as planned.
It should not at all. It should not. December 27th is the referendum date, and it's going to take place. I'm sure the Electoral Commission is prepared for that.
But talk of the commission, we've heard the minority, for instance, the report, they say they are yet to see a copy of the report as we prepare for the referendum.
Well, there's nothing that shows that the minority should be shown a copy of the report. Nothing the Constitution talks about that. It is surprising how people who are supposed to know better, choose to throw that into the eyes of people who may not understand these things. The Constitution says clearly, if you go to Article 280, talk about Commission of Inquiry, Mr. President has up to 6 months to decide to publish the findings of the Commission. And he may even decide not to do that and give reasons why he will not do that. The Commission presented their report in June 26. Still within the constitutional time to decide to publish it or not. And there's nothing says that when a commission of inquiry finishes their work, you should go and show it to the minorities. They know that is not the case. It's just trying to throw that in people's eyes.
We're grateful for your time, Dan Kweku Butche is Minister in charge of Regional Reorganization.
And you're still listening to Newsnight on your superstation Joy 99.7 FM. You can send in your comments on the stories we've done so far. WhatsApp 0244-340-437, 0244-340-437. Now, girls involved in sporting activities are generally perceived as academically weak, lacking the brain to do things that are intellectually demanding. In our build-up to the 2018 Africa Women Cup of Nations this week, Joy Sports' Gary L. Smith speaks to a girls' football coach and some young girls about this perception. The responses are quite intriguing, MFA. There's more in the following excerpt of the All to Play For Hotline documentary brought to you by UNICEF.
Since I started, I've seen that some families who wouldn't allow their girls to join any football club have now released their girls to join my club and are playing, and so are getting all the benefits that a girl should get in football, like health-wise, exposure, all the advantages you can think of.
The coach speaks of the Zongo communities he operates from, and like he says, Mamobi and Nima are deprived areas where generally attention to teenage girls is not the best. In addition to teaching these young ones the tactical aspects of the game of football, Ambrose also acts as a peer educator and advisor. For these young girls, growing up in a Zongo community where the worth of girls is calculated in terms of domestic chores and how many children they can have, taking part in physical activity can be the last thing on their minds. Bilkis grew up in Nima and still lives there.
In my community, for instance, if a young girl plays soccer, they tell her, you cry, the ball that you are playing, what do you get from it? Like, we the guys who even play, we don't even get something better out of it. So just stop and focus and get a man to marry and move on with your life.
Clearly, the environment is stifling, and with myths about why girls should be discouraged from doing sports abounding, there's never been a greater need for education as there is now. Coach Ambrose again.
There is this perception out there that girls who play football find difficulties when they want to give birth, and it is totally the opposite. It rather makes giving birth easy, scientifically. And apart from that, recently we have seen our girls going out there to the gym to train because they want to keep themselves in shape and all that. Our girls don't need to pay to do this. They're already on their foot, they're already training. So, this is a benefit for sport that people didn't know and now are knowing. So in terms of building their body, it is the number one.
Except of the All to Play For hotline documentary brought to you by UNICEF. MFA, would you allow your daughter to play football though?
Of course. If she has a talent, why not?
Well, in this era that we know,
but she has to go to school as well.
Yeah, football is raking a lot of revenue for the players these days.
It must be good to be able to do that. But nobody plans for their death. We all know that. But the mortuary men have an advice for us.
Those who intend to die during that period should wait. When mortuary workers are back to work, they die.
That's coming up later on Flip Side. But it's time now for business with George. We are fit.
And if a friend of mine once told me something that George, he's telling me that I'm not afraid of death, but the process of dying. The struggles you go through, before you say bye-bye. So, after death, fine, but the struggles, having a sickness.
But you don't want to die at the time that the mortuary workers are on strike or embarking on a strike.
Absolutely not.
Maybe you do the private clinics and the morgues as well in town. Well, MFA coming up, it's still about the budget here, budget there, budget everywhere, and the chair of the public interest and accountability committee, Dr. Steve Mantaya, wants the 2019 budget to come up with some measures to rein in on expenditure. And I'll be hearing more from him. An announcement of new minimum capital requirement for insurance firms to happen before the end of this month. You're also looking at a situation where the money could increase to about 100 million Ghana cedis. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials.
In this part of the world, we rise early, way before the sunrise. We plan, we pray, we prep. Just so we are a step ahead. We keep the conversations going to stay connected to family, friends, and business. They say, Agrobeswa Ifrianopa. Start your day bright with MTN Kokroko. For only 1 Ghana cedi, you can enjoy 400 megabytes of data and 30 minutes of free MTN to MTN calls every day from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. everywhere you go. Dial *138# to buy MTN Kokroko bundle now.
But the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh
Yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, young CEOs, SMEs, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. It's the second Ghana SME and Young CEO Summit and Expo, a unique one-day world-class forum for knowledge gains on business scale-ups, corporate best practices, and expanding your network of top-level business contact, to be held on the 26th of November 2018 at the Kempinski Hotel, Accra. Theme: Corporate Leadership Governance, strong pillar for business and economic growth. Be enlightened by world-class faculty CEO mentors, keynote speakers, panelists, experts, and government officials. For registration, sponsorships, and corporate exhibitions, visit GhanaSMECEOSummit.com or call 0546 391 970 or 0277 899 000. The second Ghana SME and Young CEO Summit and Expo is powered by CEO Network Ghana and Deloitte.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. And Chair of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, Dr. Steve Mantia, is pushing for a 2019 budget that will come up with measures to contain the rising expenditure to deal with the revenue shortfalls. Now, government, the 2018 budget proposed to spend 62 billion Ghana cedis. Now, latest data from the Ministry of Finance shows that government spent slightly more than what is projected for August ending. Now, Joy Business understands Finance Minister Keno Furiata is likely to propose about 71 billion Ghana cedis as expenditure target for next year. However, there are concerns that there could be another serious overrun if revenue doesn't pick up. Let's hear from Dr. Steve Mantia on why he believes that it's not about increasing taxes, but rather cutting expenditure.
We need to pay attention to the quality of the expenditures we make. Indeed, if I consider the fact that within a space of about 6 years, this country has been able to earn way in excess of $4 billion. These are our own money, $4 billion. And I look at how poorly we spend these monies in the economy. Then I tell myself, until we deal with the inefficiencies in spending, we can bring in how much loans we want to bring in. It wouldn't change a thing.
So you, for you, it's about let's watch the expenditure.
That's for me the most critical. It is not about bringing in more money into a leaking pot. If the pot is leaking, let's actually plug the leak.
Dr. Steve Mantia is chair of the Public Interest and the Accountability Committee. Now, the National Insurance Commission is likely to announce the new capital requirement for insurance firms before the end of this month. Now, this is what we picked up from sources close to the National Insurance Commission. We also understand the Commission is likely to propose between 50 to 100 million Ghana cedis as a new level for the operators. We're also learning that they could actually stagger the period for the firms to meet the capital requirement. Let's hear from the Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission, Justice Furry, who told Joy Business that they're looking at a situation where they would have different timelines for all the players to meet the new levels.
We're not thinking of just coming out with an upgraded version of the minimum capital. We're also looking at how we can accommodate them. We're even thinking of having a tier system whereby those who cannot actually meet, like a three-tier system, for example, whereby those who cannot move up will be where they are, but they'll be limited to some kind of business. Those in the middle line, maybe the second tier, will also be assigned to some risk. And then those at the first tier will then probably have the opportunity of getting involved in the higher risk. As you are aware, insurance is a little different from banking. Insurance carries a lot of risk. So, and there's also a lack of much confidence in insurance. Insurance is a very tough sell because insurance is something that is intangible. It's not something you can feel, like going to the shop and buying a shoe. It's based on a promise to pay you in future when you experience the unexpected.
Justice Ofori is Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission. Let's do some economy stories. And ranking member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Kessel, are the fourth in accusing government of benefiting from the IMF program despite an earlier attempt by government to terminate it. According to him, the current administration is excited about ending the program with a plan to pave way for the introduction of what he describes as non-profitable policies. He spoke to Joy Business at the pre-budget forum organized by the minority in Parliament today.
The NDC went to the IMF. They had an option to have exited. They've extended it for 2 more years, and they extended it. I didn't extend it. I was in government. So they had an option. Why didn't they extend it if it's that bad? So please, they shouldn't go there. They know exactly what the fund program can do. Today they are jubilating that they are exiting the IMF program, obviously because they will get opportunity to do their lavish expenditure and to implement populist policies with no economic benefit to the ordinary Ghanaian. So they think that is good. But that is not what we are talking about. The impact is what we are talking about. So I think in the end, I don't see hope in this.
Kessel Atuforzen is the minority spokesperson on finance. Meanwhile, government has maintained that it will be fiscally prudent with its expenditure post the IMF program. Now, the African Development Bank is attributing the significant increase in financial support for Ghana to how the economy has been managed. The bank had just ended the Africa Investment Forum pledged to advance more than $3 billion to Ghana for various infrastructure projects. Let's hear the Vice President of the bank, Amadou Hott, who spoke to Joy Business in South Africa.
The African Development Bank is really confident about the strategy, the vision of the government of Ghana. And we want to support that vision. When we see a compelling vision, we are keen to support it. And we are keen to support it not only by extending sometime loans to governments, but by also supporting the private sector so that the private sector can do PPP transactions with the government. Like this project for A Energy, it's a PPP transaction basically. The government is concessioning the assets of the distribution to A Energy and their partners. They will invest in it and run it for a very long time.
Amadou Hott is the Vice President of the African Development Bank, speaking to Joy Business in South Africa. And that's all for business. And as we wait for the 2019 budget, and what's
his name again?
Amadou Hott. Okay. You know, and it's interesting how the budget has moved over the years from periods where we used to wait for sardine and all those things to be announced by Kasibochi, and now you're looking forward to whether to be another Ejimo 2 budget or consolidation budget or post-IMF budget.
Thank you very much, George. Let's take some messages, Komla.
Yes, some messages on our WhatsApp console, and this one says, kudos to Asante Hene for that wonderful intervention. We hope peace will prevail for smooth studies to take place. That's from Donald Yenabi in Kumasi. Also, bravo to the Education Minister for solving the impasse at KNUST amicably despite strong antipathy and contrariety from the various unions. That's Sir Prempe Presek Legon.
Kofi Seidu says the Education Minister should be ashamed of himself for asking SRC executives to be punished for the impasse. What did he do as a minister when he was petitioned by the students to intervene on their behalf when the university authorities decided to change the meal hall to mixed ones?
And Edward from Tafo says the government should be careful not to create misunderstanding between ethnic groups because peace is all we desire. That's one from Edward from Tafo. So the youth of Tripoli have the right to demonstrate if they are not interested in having the inclusion of Tripoli in the northeast region. They have a voice, and the minister must listen. Ni Oko in Tesano.
We'll take the final one also from Sofu Yamusu in Kumbungu. Minorities being mischievous. The creation of the region is purely developmental, devoid of politics, he says.
Those are some of your messages here on our WhatsApp console. Let's do some more stories now. And restricting the vetting of ministerial nominees to specific committees in Parliament other than the appointment committee may not be the best way to go. That is the position of Minority Chief Whip and member of the Appointments Committee, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, to a proposal by the Speaker, Professor Michael Kwe. Professor Kwe explains the move, if adopted by the House, will strengthen the competencies of committee members and make Parliament more efficient. He spoke with some selected journalists in Accra yesterday.
In the revision of the standing orders, we are proposing that when it comes to vetting, for example, it is my proposal, and my leaders are agreed generally, and it's at the board level as well, there's an agreement on this, that, look, our constitution talks only about the prior approval of Parliament regarding to a minister. It doesn't tell you that there must be something like appointments committee The appointments committee is a general committee. If you look at the US, where we learned the whole thing from, we have departed. If you are coming to be a foreign minister, the Foreign Affairs Committee will vet you. Specialized people, knowledgeable people who have made foreign affairs their career in this house. We want to build some of these things. These are things which members also need to perform efficiently.
But Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak, who is also part of the Special Committee tasked to restructure Parliament Standing Orders, believes the proposal is too extreme and could pose some challenges if implemented now. He spoke to Joseph Opoku-Gakpo.
Well, I mean, I can't fault him. That was his individual view. Those of us who are in leadership and on the special committee that was created, we have agreed that we needed to change the structure of the appointments committee to have 5 permanent members, and depending on where the ministers come in, we get the committee to join. Because practice have shown us that if you are to send to each committee, what it means that if the president decides to reshuffle, now the person will have to come back. So to avoid that, as we develop and improve on what we are doing, the appointment committee still stands because it's part of our standing orders, but review it said that it doesn't have that large number. It has a very small permanent members. Then when you are vetting health minister, members from the health committee comes to join. If you are vetting education minister, members from the education committee comes to join. Because you see, institutional memory and experience matters.
Here, the Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak. Let's get some perspective on this from a man who has huge expertise on the operations of the legislature. Dr. Rashid Rahman is Executive Director, Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. He joins us on the line. Hello, Dr. Rashid. First of all, do you agree that the mode of vetting the nominee should be modified at all?
Yes, I think.
Dr. Rashid, if you could reposition. If you could reposition yourself for us, we are unable to hear you clearly, Doc. If you could reposition yourself for us quickly, we are asking, first of all, do you agree that this mode of vetting nominees should be modified at all?
Yes, I do. I do agree with the Right Honourable Speaker. And I was saying that this is very long overdue. During some of the vetting of some nominees in the past, we've had cause to raise issues about the fact that, most of the questions that were being asked were really questions that did not address the issues that a nominee is going to deal with when he or she becomes the Minister of State. And it was mainly because of the fact that, this is almost like an omnibus committee dealing with ministers from agriculture to foreign affairs and so on and so forth. And we have said that, it is better to have people who are specialized in the sector to question a minister of state who is nominated to go to a particular sector. So this is very long overdue, and I would want to commend the Right Honourable Speaker for pushing for this initiative.
Dr. Jaman, how will this impact, the vetting process going forward?
Well, it will impact the vetting process, in 2 ways. The first is you are going to have a situation where you have people who are very knowledgeable about the sector, asking, probing, and trying to find out what contribution the particular nominee is going to bring to that sector. Number 2, you are also going to have, unlike what we have seen in the past, questions that are pertinent for a particular sector being raised by people who are working with that particular sector over the years. And that is definitely going to be completely different from the current situation where you have one committee dealing with issues crossing many sectors of our economy.
For the past 10 years, Dr. Rashid Rahman, you've been pushing for the effect of some of these, proposals and reforms in Parliament. Most of it did not materialize. How hopeful are you that this will actually see the light of day?
Well, if I have to tell you, reform in our parliament is painfully slow. And I'm really very worried, and sometimes I get disappointed. There's a lot of talk, and at the end of it all, when it gets to a point where action needs to be taken, it's stuck. The reform of this standing order started not today. My organization has done some work with Parliament on it. Other organizations have. And this last effort is one that is led by support from Star Ghana. And I just hope that it sees the light of day before the end of this 7th Parliament.
We are grateful for your time, Dr. Rashid Draman. He's Executive Director, Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. It's time now for sports, and Gary Al-Smith is in the studios. How are you doing, Gary?
Doing well,
How's your encounter with the girls?
The girls.
All to play for?
All to play for, yes.
Which girls were you thinking about?
Yeah, I was wondering because, African Cup of Nations for Women is coming.
Of course.
So there's a lot of...
all the girls. It's all about the girls.
Yeah. The star of the documentary, the 13-year-old, today, she expressed a wish to become like Adrabayo in future. Yeah. So we had a surprise for her. She came on air, and Adrabayo came on air to meet her today. Yeah, she was nearly in tears. Anyway, still on the issue of women's football, as you know, the African Cup of Nations for Women kicks off on Saturday, and Ghana will be hosting. Assistant coach of the Ghana national team is Mercy Tego Kwaku, and she says that all is set for kickoff. The Black Queens, as part of their preps, have played and lost to Zambia, drawn with Kenya before beating South Africa in Accra last Sunday. And Tego Kwaku believes the Black Queens team gets better by the day.
Nobody goes to a war front and said, I'm going to be beaten. We go to war front to win. Even though it's not a war, it's a competition. And we have the advantage because we are hosting. And the whole nation is behind Ghana. Apart from my team, what I'm expecting Ghana to do is to come and support us. Aside of that, technically, I think my players are poised. They are ready for the game. Because what we saw with when we played against South Africa was my vast improvement over the previous matches we had already played. And I believe that what we have seen and corrected will reflect in our competition opening game. That's with against Algerians.
She also says that she would like you, if you are in Ghana, to come to the Accra Stadium, which has been renovated and looking good and new, to support the Queen starting on Saturday.
Ghanaians, we held CAN 2008 in Ghana, men's edition. And it's like the whole nation was behind Black Stars. That was what propelled Black Stars to where they got to. Now it is the women's turn. Black Queens, we are pleading with you Ghanaians. Even the men's waffle in Cape Coast, we all saw what happened just recently. So I'm expecting Ghanaians, every Tom, Dick and Harry, market women, everybody come to the stadium, fill the stadium for our first match, for us to win convincingly. Then other things will follow. Even the Bible has already said that seek ye the kingdom first, and the rest shall be added unto you. So we are seeking your support first. When we are able to win this first opening game, I believe that the rest will follow. The game will talk for itself, and nobody will ask you to come and follow us again. It will come.
Somebody shout hallelujah.
Amen.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
And that's the sport.
Thank you very much, Gary R. Smith, with the latest in sports. Now, they are the least paid, least respected, and hardly giving time for relaxation as prescribed by law. But they do what many would not do, keeping dead bodies. Mortuary workers across the country are awake to this reality and have served notice they will withdraw services starting next week, Tuesday.
So the Association of Mortuary Workers in a statement lists multiple violations of their working conditions by the Ministry of Health. Maxwell Agbagba was at the Pantine Hospital Mortuary to interact with some of the members and has come through with this report.
I am stepping out of the office of Thomas Awuku Fiabo. The sound of one of the cooling systems used in preserving the bodies at the mortuary has filled the air. Thomas is a senior mortuary worker at the Pantine Hospital. He has been doing this for the past 25 years. He says his kind of work is not for the faint-hearted. Thomas says he has not gone on leave for the past 2 decades.
It is a job for the courageous. Just look at the situation where a person dies in the middle of the night. The body is brought to you. The family members bring the body and you are left alone to prepare it for the morgue. Sometimes you can be here alone throughout the night. Have never gone on leave before.
I've now met Richard Kofi Jordan. He's the General Secretary of the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana. He says all morticians in Ghana will be embarking on a strike from Tuesday, November 20, to register their displeasure about their poor conditions of service.
Solutions. Anything short of solutions will not affect our strike. We are laying down our tools.
He has this advice for Ghanaians and authorities responsible for addressing their concerns.
Those who intend to die during that period should wait. When mortuary workers are back to work, they die. Simple. When you die and you die at the hospital, the mortuary attendant becomes the porter. He goes to bring the body from the ward to the mortuary. He's the same person who do the cleaning of the mess that is caused by the dead people in the mortuary. The same person is in charge of embalming the body, preserving the body through the infusion of chemicals to preserve the body from temporary decay.
You heard the Maxwell Agbagba's report, and just before we go, Komla will leave you in the hands with this mortuary worker who is saying that if you intend to die anytime soon, he has an advice for you. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com.
Absolutely.
I am Emefa Apau.
And I am Komla Adam. Thank you for listening.
The signal those who are charged with governance is sending to all Ghanaians, and for that matter, those who die during that period, is that they should learn to bury anybody who dies within a day, or those who intend to die during that period should wait.